Give me this day my daily bread. Forgive me all my trespasses. And lead me not into dismay, but let me pray upon the highest hill. Let me know the beauty of thy will, and from it let me not stray, but deliver me from negativity and baptize me in your majesty, and christen me with a love that is free.
Last Sunday, John, my son-in-law, and I were sitting out on our porch chatting, and he said, "So what are you talking about next Sunday?" And I start my talks Monday morning. I said, "I have no idea." And I'd been in a funk. Happens once in a while. And so I thought, I think I'm going to go for a walk around the lake. We have a nice lake where we live. And as I did, I was remembering that Reverend Therese last week talked to you about what Lent means. Let's eliminate negative thinking. So as I was walking, instead of enjoying the beautiful day, there was a lot of stuff going on here at church. Our AC went down. There was a leaking pipe, and we needed to know where the water main was, and we didn't know where it was, and the lights on the pole are burnt out, and the annual meeting's coming up, and the budget needs to be done. And it went on, and I found myself laying awake at night, wondering how all this stuff was going to get done. And so instead of enjoying this beautiful day, this beautiful walk, where was my mind? But then this song started going through my head, "Deliver me from negativity." And as I walked, it became stronger and stronger. And I started to feel the breeze. And I started to see the sun, how it made the water shimmer. And there were turtles laying out on the bank and the ducks in the water. And all of a sudden, what was filling my head and stressing me out was gone. I was delivered. So today's talk is Deliver Me. That song that Renee just sang was written by someone in the class behind me in ministerial school. Her name is Erin McCabe, and she's now senior minister at the chapel at Unity Village. Well, the incoming class starts in June. And in September, Unity has their World Day of Peace, which is a very big event. The community comes, there's hundreds of people there. And as a senior, I was on the team to create the ceremony for World Day of Prayer. So it was the night of World Day of Prayer. The ceremony was over, and I was standing next to Unity Village Tower, watching people as they carried their candles in the dark around the lighted fountains. Do we have a picture up there, Dan? And this is Unity at night. And as I stood there, I heard this voice in the dark singing Amazing Grace. And I turned, and it was Erin. And we didn't know each other very well yet. And I said, "I didn't know you sang." I said, "Would you sing that at my chapel service?" My chapel service was in January. Now, when you're a senior, you have to create a whole church service. And it's a real big deal. And she said yes. So September, the year went on. Christmas break came. All the students went away. And when we came back to start classes again, we came back to find out that all our teachers had been released. The school decided they were going to become credentialed. They were doing something different. And any teacher without a master's degree was released. So as we came back, there were some of our teachers in tears. They didn't know what was going on. And right in the middle of the day, there's a bridge that goes over these fountains, and it's called the Bridge of Faith. There was a huge crash, and running to the windows, we saw that the bridge of faith had collapsed. And so we found ourselves being there to support our teachers. And I knew then that my chapel talk was going to be, it takes a village. Because it takes all of us to come together to hold that consciousness when everything else seems to be collapsing. Unity as we knew it was changing. And it had been our Mecca. It was our spiritual roots. And everything unity stood for appeared to be falling apart. What had been our heaven was going to hell. Have you been there? Are you there right now? When your roots, when one seems to be so solid in your life that it's never going to change, appears to be falling apart, appears to be going to hell around you. During his very first campaign for Congress, Abraham Lincoln attended a church led by a very fiery evangelist. Ever been to one of those? And during the service, the congregation was asked to stand and sing a series of stirring hymns. And when the songs finished, the preacher commanded, anyone who wants to go to heaven, sit down. And they said you could hear all the bottoms sitting on the wooden pews. Everyone sat except Lincoln. Now, he was a very tall man. He really stood out. So heads were turning, people were whispering. The preacher was puzzled. And he said, anyone who doesn't want to go to hell, sit down. And there Lincoln stood. People are whispering, they're looking at him. And the preacher thunders, Mr. Lincoln, if you're not going to heaven and you don't want to escape hell, where are you going? And Lincoln just stood there, tall, erect, big grin came on his face, and he said, I'm going to Congress. Deliver me from negativity. Baptize me in your majesty. You know, as I walked that lake, I was delivered from the negative. I was being baptized by all the beauty of a gorgeous Florida day. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. When I realized that we are one, there is no separation. The kingdom of God within was one of Jesus' primary teachings. Yet, in over his 100 references about the kingdom of God, the kingdom of heaven, not once did he describe it as a place out there. He said the kingdom of God, the kingdom of heaven, is near at hand. It's in the midst of you. The kingdom of God, the kingdom of heaven is a state of our mind. When I live from an awareness that there's only one presence and one power in my life, I live from the mind state of heaven. And I'm patient, and I'm understanding, and I'm loving, and I'm at peace, no matter what's happening in the outer world, no matter what's happening in this church. When Jesus spoke of what we now call hell, he wasn't referring to some underground world of eternal fire. He used phrases like a fiery lake of burning sulfur, or where the fire never goes out. The word hell comes from the Hebrew word Gehenna. And Gehenna was a valley outside of Jerusalem that was used as their dump. It's where the garbage was put. And it was smoky and smelly, a gruesome place. And the fire was always going. At one time, they did human sacrifice there. So Jesus is using this place where there's a fire and comparing it to what our inner torments feel like when we live in a negative state of mind. When I'm separate, when I'm disconnected from that one power, from that one presence, what's going on in my mind? Feels like hell, doesn't it? I've forgotten to turn within. I've forgotten that heaven, the kingdom, is within me. On the average, do you know how many thoughts we have a day? 60,000. And 98 to 99% of them, listen to this, are the same ones we had yesterday, the day before. And 80% of them are negative. And these are statistics. I am not making this up. So negative thinking is a habit, right? If I'm thinking a negative thought today, I'm going to be thinking it tomorrow. It may take a different form. I may just worry about something different tomorrow, but I'm still in that negative mindset. It's like being in a movie. So when you go to a movie, an action movie or a horror movie or even a love movie, what happens? You become in that movie, don't you? And you jump, you scream, you get tense, you hold on to the edge of your chair, you cry. That movie seems real while you're watching it. Those negative thoughts inside my head seem very real to me. Who saw the movie Groundhog Day? Oh, good. Quite a few of you. So Bill Murray is the main character in Groundhog Day. He's smug, arrogant, sarcastic, judgmental, absorbed in his own discomforts. So what happens? He gets trapped in his own negative thoughts, his own hell. And he's forced to live the same day over and over again. And each day becomes more unbearable. So after a while, he decides he's going to try something different. That he's going to he starts changing little things. And he starts, instead of being negative, starts to do something positive rather than negative. So he's making these little tiny changes each day. And as he does, his thinking starts to change. And he starts to become more compassionate, kinder, loving. Until finally, one morning, he wakes up to a brand new day. And he's free of the hell that he was trapped in. If you haven't seen the movie, it's a great movie to watch for what we're talking about today. So my question to you is, are you living the same day over and over again? Are you caught in a loop of negative thinking? Worry, anxiety, fear, unhappiness in any form separates us and disconnects us from the kingdom, from heaven within. We unknowingly live in an unhappy state. It's like having, you may have had this, like having a noisy refrigerator in our house, and it's running and we don't hear it anymore because we're so used to it. And then one day it dies, and all of a sudden we notice the silence, right? We don't hear it. Only when the noise stops do we realize the noise was there. Our negative thoughts that we're unaware of are that noisy refrigerator running back there. They're running all the time, which means that we are creators of our own suffering and our own hell. So are you trapped in negative thoughts? And are you looking out there? Are you looking to the world to save you for your salvation, to deliver you, rather than turning within to the kingdom of heaven, the kingdom of God? So, what do we do with all this junk in here? You know, you can walk over to the dump and open it out and just drop it in and let it burn up. Not that easy, is it? One, don't try pushing your negative thoughts away. Because what we focus on, we're going to just get more of. So if I'm resisting them, if I'm blocking them, I'm just going to keep getting more. I'm putting all my energy there, right? I'm feeding them with my energy. So when you notice you're thinking negative thoughts, don't try fighting it. Don't push it. Number 2, don't believe everything you think. Your thoughts are not facts. They're just thoughts. They're a movie. And underneath them is the real you. You know that. You feel that. But those thoughts get so noisy, they catch us. Our mind believes all our thoughts are correct. That we and our thoughts are one. That I and my thoughts are one. But we're not. We're not our mind. Our mind is just a tool we get to use. Number 3. When you notice a negative thought, say this. What if I didn't believe this? What if I didn't believe this thought even for a second? Think about that. I mean, you know, those times that you're laying in bed, I know I've done this, and they're just running. I've got to stop and say, what if I didn't believe this? Even for a second. If we want fewer negative thoughts, don't analyze them. Don't worry about them, because what's going to happen? You're just going to keep getting them, right? You're giving them energy. Just stop listening to them. Stop believing them. The only reason I feel bad in the first place is because I'm listening to all that rubbish in my mind, right? Our spiritual growth lies in those tiny moments that we notice our negative thoughts and we don't believe them. What's that negative thought? Notice which one pops up for you. And just let yourself know you don't have to believe it. Because in the moment that I don't believe or listen to that thought, there's a peace, there's a contentment, there's a oneness, and I'm delivered. The coming of a new heaven and a new earth is predicted both in the Old and New Testament. As I become aligned with the kingdom within, as I become more and more aware of that kingdom within me, if I become more aware of my interconnectedness with everyone and everything, I become a co-creator of a new heaven and a new earth. Do you understand that? Do you get that? The power of my thoughts changes the way I see my life, right? My life starts to look better. I was walking around the lake and I wasn't even seeing anything. I was just seeing all that stuff going in my mind. But as that song moved through me, deliver me from negativity, baptize me in your majesty, it's like I woke up. And all of a sudden there was this beautiful world around me that I had been missing. We become the creators of a new heaven and a new earth. The song Deliver Me ends with the words Om Namah Shivaya. And that means I bow to the divinity within me. I bow, I honor, I become aware of the kingdom of heaven, the kingdom of God within me. So I'm asking the musicians to come back up right now. Because this week, this Lent, your focus is going to be, let's eliminate negative thinking. So I want you to notice those negative thoughts. As soon as it pops into your head, just stop being visual. Watch what's going on in your mind. Don't let it just run like that noisy refrigerator. And when you notice a negative thought, don't push it away. Don't believe it. Don't listen to it. What I want you to do is the same thing that worked for me. They're going to sing that song again for you. And I'd like you to close your eyes. And I'd like you to let it wash over you so that as you go through your week, if you find yourself in a funk the way I was, you can be baptized in this beautiful song.
Forgive me all my trespasses, and lead me not into dismay. But let me pray upon the highest hill. Let me know the beauty of thy will, and from it baptize me in your majesty, and christen me with a love that is free. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, when I realize that we are one, and only with these eyes do I see. Is heard from mountains high, from valleys low through summer skies, lands of war and lands where there is peace. Te Makuta, not Kad El Shema, or to let a to Hindu names and Buddhist chants and refrains. Bless all the paths our feet walk to be free. Bless all the paths our feet walk to be free. Bless all the paths our feet walk to be free. Baruch atah Adonai, Om Shanti El Shaddai, Om Namah Shivaya.
So just let that vibration become part of you. The talk today will be on the CD, and that song will be on the end of it if you want to hear it. All we have to do is remember that we have a choice. All we have to do is want to be delivered from that negativity. God bless you all.